Good afternoon, everyone. How are you all? Good afternoon. I'm fine, thank you.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. So nice to meet you all again.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon. So you must be aware that we have a quiz tomorrow, uh, and during the quiz, you all have to attend through the Google Meeting link. Have you got my email regarding the Google Meet link?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you all have to be there, and your video needs to be on during the quiz, and the quiz will be started at 7:45. The duration of the quiz will be 30 minutes, and you have to respond to all the queries by this 30 minutes using Bugs platform. By this time you might have got the email regarding the pattern of the quiz. Have you got it? Have you seen it?
Yes,
Okay. So are you comfortable with the different patterns, or do you have any query regarding that?
sir. I have a question about the quiz.
Please, sir.
Sir, will we be given questions where we have to correct trial balance?
No, no, not like that. Have what's the direction says? Instruction. Have you read the instruction? What will be the pattern of the quiz? There will be some MCQs. There will be some numerical inputs. That means a problems can be given. You need to find out the what should be the correct number after calculations. So you can do your calculations by yourself, and you just have to input the numbers there. And there will be some checkbox related responses as well. Say for example, a transaction has been given. It has been asked, by this transaction what are the accounts will be affected and how. Say say it says that you have purchased something on cash and on credit. An equipment has been purchased on cash and on credit. What are the changes will be there? Purchased equipment 40,000, cash paid 20,000, and remaining part are on account. If this is a transaction, what will be the changes? Anyone?
Sir, could you please repeat the question?
An equipment has been purchased. I'm just writing down to the chat box. You can see it here, or it's better to use the purchased equipment for $40,000, cash paid $25,000. Is it a transaction?
Yes, sir.
So, what will be the changes, or what are the accounts will be affected, and how it is going to be changed?
Sir, equipment, cash, and equipment and cash.
Equipment, only these two.
Sir, accounts payable
Accounts
also.
payable as well. So like that, accounts will payable will be in, equipment will be increase or decrease?
Sir, increase.
Increase by 40,000. Cash will be
Decrease.
decrease by 25,000. Accounts payable, sorry, I haven't mentioned the
Increase.
payable will be increased by
15.
15,000. Like that, you need to find it out from the checkbox. Some information will be given, or it can be said that asset will be increased, asset will be decreased, liability will be increased or decreased. So a number of options will be given. You need to find the correct one. Once there might be some, um, say here you need to find out three and responses. In some cases, two responses, like that. So this is the checkbox responses. And numerical input, MCQs. Yeah, these are the things you will face in your quiz one. Any other query regarding quiz?
Sir,
All right, so one by one. Yep.
Sir, when will we learn how to correct trial balance, and will it won't be our quiz, will it?
No, it's not related to the quiz. Okay.
When will we learn it, sir?
Maybe after the next chapter or during the next chapter that we are going to
Okay,
start.
because I was watching the lectures and I had some confusions about it.
Okay. I'm moving at my style, so that I'm trying to follow a different ways so that you can cope up easily. You can see that
Okay,
some of
sir.
the topics may be discussed in earlier of the recorded session or the later of the recorded session. So don't worry about that. We will definitely forecast all the issues, all the topics that we are supposed to cover.
Sir, when will you get the feedback on your assignment?
You'll get the response soon. Maybe I'll try to respond you by next week.
So we can join the Google Meet anytime, like after 7:40, 50.
You are supposed to start your quiz at 7:45, so 7:40 is fine.
So because of we have another quiz.
Yeah, I know this one. That's why your quiz have been shifted by 15 minutes. If you just join just before 7:45 or 7:44, that will be fine. No problem for that.
Will there be MCQ or we have to do maths?
Have you got the instruction? Have you seen there was an email regarding the instructions of the quiz?
In personal email or the GSUT one?
Jisut one. Have you checked it?
No, sir. I
Please,
haven't checked.
please have a check it. There will be MCQs, numerical input, checkbox type queries there. There will be. You don't have to solve any problem that you need to upload it. Need to upload. No need to upload any responses. And by this time, before the quiz, if you have any problem, any issues, feel free to email me. I'll try to respond to you, and will try to clarify your problems that you are facing. Okay. And during the quiz, you will not be allowed to ask any question. So that's why I'm asking you. If you have any query, you can ask me now, or after the sessions you find any problem, just feel free to email me.
Sir,
Yep.
so last class we told that unearned service revenue is liability. Can you
Hmm.
tell why?
So basically, say for example, you are in April. You earned or you provided service to your customers for an amount of $40,000. You already provided the service, and from another customers you receive dollar 25,000 or 24,000 to provide service in May. Okay, these are the two activities. So for the first one, do you think it's a transaction?
Yes, sir.
Yes. If I ask you to record it, how are you going to record it? Through journal?
Uh, it will be like accounts receivable.
Excellent. Because they did not mention cash. Accounts receivable, debit, 40,000, and what should be credit?
Uh,
The service
service.
revenue.
Service revenue. credit. Fine. Because it's a service revenue because we already provided the service. Second one, what should be debit? You receive 24,000 cash to provide service. Cash debit.
Cash debit.
24,000 to provide
Owner
service.
revenue.
Okay, to provide service. Have you provide service? No. That's why we cannot record it service revenue.
Sir, unearned service
It should be
revenue.
recorded, yes, unearned service revenue.
Sir, it should be credit,
It
right?
should be credit. Yeah, should be credit. This should be the.
Because
This should
according
be.
to our custom, payment
Yes.
is
Now
liability.
it's say now it will be considered as a liability. Now the question is why it should be considered as a liability. Have you received the money?
Yes, sir.
Are you liable to provide service?
Yes, sir. Yes,
So
yes.
now it becomes
Sir,
your liability. That's why it's a
understood, sir.
liability. Yeah,
Understood, sir. Thank
got
you.
it. It's all right, sir. So that's why it's a liability. And in previous case, because we already provided the services, it becomes revenue.
Sir, can you solve assignment 2 in today's class?
Yeah, can you please help me? What are the problems are there? Then we can do it one by one. Just tell me, and we'll discuss. Yeah, yeah, no problem, no problem. I need the question. I don't have this question at this moment. Can you please share it with me?
Sir, can I share it?
Yeah, please. Probably you cannot share it because I'm also already sharing my window. Oh, you can. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's cool. Sorry. So the first one was,
Sir,
yeah.
I have a question, sir.
Let us solve. Let us solve from the beginning, from the very first one. Okay, you have followed the format that has been given into the book and probably into the Excel sheet as well. And in the you can follow this one, or you can write down the revenue, expenses, and drawings as a part of the as a part of what we did in our sessions
The owner's equity.
as a part of owner's equity or capital part. So both are correct. No problem with that. So the first one was invested by owner. By the investment, two accounts are here. One is, oh, I don't have the full question. Investment by owners, probably an equipment has been invested and cash was invested. So two things the organization received cash of 7,000, equipment of 14,000. So cash increase, equipment increase, and the capital has been increased by 21,000. Correct. Paid rent 2,400. So by payment of rent, cash has been reduced 2,400. If you follow this pattern, expense has been in. Yep, sir.
Sir, in the first transaction,
Hmm.
so they buy the equipment for 14,000, but there was not written it was paid in cash.
What was the total transactions? Can you share it with me? What was been has been written into the.
So can you, so do you have the access to the question, sir?
I do have. Then I have to enter to the box again. That's why I'm asking. I was asking that whether you have the question or not.
Sir, I can send the questions on chat.
Yeah, please. That will be helpful. That will be helpful. That's cool. Thank you, Jenny. All right. I'm following the chat box for the questions, and I'm sharing with my feedback regarding the transactions that has been given here with the discussions with you all. So the first one they mentioned that Matt invested 7,000 cash and equipment worth of 14,000 in the business. So what is the total investment? They invested 7,000 cash as well as equipment of 14,000. So cash has increased and equipment also increased in the organization. Matt probably the owner, so owner's claim also been increased by 14,000 plus 7,000, 21,000. This is why capital increased 21,000, cash increased 7,000, equipment increased 14,000. So what was your query, Jahid?
So my query was, here it is not written that the equipment was bought in cash. So the equipment should be in the accounts payable 14,000.
No, just think like that. It's a true transaction. Matt is the owner. Matt invested 7,000 cash in the business. So what would be the journal?
So
Matt in-
cash debit, equipment credit, and capital credit. Sorry, equipment debit.
Just one by one, okay? Sorry. This was the transaction. Matt invested 7,000 cash. Let me make it two transaction. Matt invested 7,000 cash in the business. Matt invested an equipment worth 14,000 in the business. If I consider these two transaction, now tell me for the first one, what should be the journal or what are the accounts related with that? First one, only the first one. Invested
So
7,000
cash and
cash.
capital
Cash and
and capital
capital. Cash is an transaction
asset.
asset, changing, increase. Capital is a part of owner's equity. It's also increase. Gone with an amount of dollar 7,000. If you don't agree, please let me know. For the second one, Matt invested equipment worth 14,000 in the business. That means instead of paying cash, the owner has given a equipment into the business. So from the organization's perspective, what are the changes going on? What are the activities been there? Are the organization receiving anything? Equipment. Yeah. Organization is receiving equipment from the owner. If anything received from the owner, it will be a part of the capital. Equipment itself is an asset. We know capital is a part of owner's equity. Owner's equity increase by dollar 14,000 and asset increases with an amount of dollar 14,000.
So now understood. So thank
Okay, that's cool. Second one, paid 2,400 for office rent for this month. Yeah, rent expense increases and cash. So rent is an expense, as you mentioned, increase dollar 2,400, cash asset decrease by dollar 2,400. Done. 3. Purchase 600 of supplies for cash. Cash and supplies. Cash is an
Asset.
asset. Supplies is an
Um, Not
asset.
sure about it.
Asset. Supplies is also an asset. If you are not sure about it, whenever you are doing the transaction analysis, uh, uh, can you please share the uh, Taylor analysis part you have done? Okay, I have it. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I have opened a solution from one of your friends. So whenever you looked at the activities or the chart of accounts that has been given, you can see what are the assets given here. Cash. Assets, under the assets, they are cash, equipment, supplies, accounts receivable. It means that cash is an asset, equipment is an asset, supplies is an asset, accounts receivable is an asset. What are the part of the liabilities? Accounts payable and loan. That means these two accounts are liabilities accounts. And we know that these are the part of owner's equity. If you are in confused like that, you can also find out what types of accounts are these. So cash is an asset, supplies is an asset as well. Cash increased or decreased? Purchase
Cash
600
decreases.
decrease. And supplies
Increases.
increase with an amount of 600. Now, next one. Continuous billed $250 for the advertisement service provided. What are the accounts will be affected?
The expenses
A specific expense.
will be
We should
the
mention
advertisement.
advertisement. Advertisement is an expense, and is it service revenue? It's not a service revenue for you. It's a service revenue for continuous. You got you took an advertisement service from them. So that means you have made an advertisements to that newspaper. So if you made an advertisement, are you going to receive money, or do you need to pay money?
We need to pay the
We need to pay the money. Have you paid the money?
uh,
Not mentioned. It means that we haven't paid the money yet. So what would be the account here?
accounts payable.
Accounts payable. Accounts payable. Say
Ability.
liability. Changes.
Liability increases.
Liability increases, and advertise
Expense also
exactly
increases.
increases. Next one. Receive 4,000 cash for service performed.
It's a cash and service.
Yes. Cash, service revenue.
Service revenue.
Cash is an
Sir,
yes, sir.
I'm still confused about transaction 5.
Okay, I'm coming to that. Let me finish this one. So cash is an asset and service revenue is a revenue. changes?
So both are increased.
Both increasing. $4,000. All right. What is your confusion regarding 5, sir?
Sir, why is it accounts payable?
Okay. So, so for example, you made an advertisement to a newspaper. It becomes an expense, and for this advertisement service or for this advertisement expense, are you supposed to pay any amount to the organization or to that newspaper
Yes,
agency?
sir.
Yes. Now, did they mention that they have paid it?
No, sir.
No, they just received the bill from the newspaper. So if they don't mention anything that there was a cash payment, what should we consider? Is it on cash account activities or non-cash activity?
Sir, non-cash activity.
Non-cash activity. That means we have not paid the amount. Are we liable to pay that amount?
Yes, sir.
Yes. That's why we mentioned accounts payable. Is it okay now?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sure, sir. Next one. Withdraw 500 cash for personal use.
So cash and drawings.
Cash and drawings. Cash asset drawings is a part of owner's equity, or yeah, is a part of owner's equity or withdraw. So asset change.
So cash decrease and
Hmm.
security also decrease.
If you mentioned only the owner's equity or capital part, it will be decrease. Or some of you, if you follow the this format to write down into the drawings, it will reduce the owner's equity as well with an amount of 500. Three. Perform 7,400 of service on credit.
So accounts payable.
Accounts payable. Accounts payable.
Accounts receivable.
Accounts
Oh, sir,
receivable.
receivable.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Accounts receivable and service revenue. Service revenue. Accounts receivable is an asset. Service revenue is a
So revenue.
revenue. Accounts receivable change,
So both are increased.
both
And both
increases.
increase.
Exactly. Amount of 1,400. Last. Paid half of the due of the continuous. On transaction number 5, we just discussed few minutes back that we have took a service of 250 from continuous, but at that time we didn't pay. Now we are paying half of the amount.
Accounts payable decreases and cash decreases.
Accounts payable and cash. Accounts payable is a liability, cash is an asset. Both are decreasing, as you mentioned, with an amount of
120.
120, and And finally, paid the salaries of the employee.
The salary and cash.
Salary and cash. Salary is an expense. Cash is an asset. Salary is
So expense increases and cash decreases.
this cash. That's all. What was the amount? What about the amount? Is
1,700.
1,700. 1,700. Okay. I have got only up to 20.
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah. Okay, I'm coming. Zaina, can you please send the remaining part of the question? We have got only up to 20. Okay, cool. Got it. Okay, Master, thank you so much. Yes, sir. What is your query?
Sir, after completing the tabular table, sir, do we need to calculate the total?
Yes.
We need to show.
Yeah. What is the reasons for that?
Sir, I just write the balance. I did not show the.
One of the there is a reasons for that. We know that each of the transactions will equally affect the both sides of the accounting equation. That means accounting equation will be same for the both side. And after including all of these activities, whether you have correctly input or not, that can be identified or addressed when you make the total. So you definitely have to make the total as well.
Sir, in session 4, you did not show the total. That's why I say, sir, I did not write it.
But in other sessions I did, isn't it? In sessions
Yes,
for
sir.
I just solve a problem, but in previously when we explain the scenarios in details, we also mentioned that we definitely have to do the totals.
I watched the session for that.
Okay, no problem, sir. From the next issues or next when you're facing any problems, don't forget to make it make the total. All
So
right,
it will deduct any marks.
I'm not sure at this moment. It will be evaluated equally for all the students. Let's see what happens. Received 7400 for service performed on account on August 15. So on August 15, we have provided services on account. Now we are receiving 4700 from the due amount.
Cash increases,
Cash
revenue increases.
increases, cash asset increases with an amount of 4700, and another account,
Revenue.
accounts not revenue, accounts receivable. The reason is that you haven't have you provided any service now? No.
No.
You provided services on 15, and when you provided service you already recorded the revenue. Now if you record the revenue again, don't you think that the revenue, same revenue, will be recorded twice?
Oh, yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes.
then revenue will be overstated. And another issue is that we did not provide any service now. We actually received the due amount that actually incurred in incurred before in August 15. That amount is receiving. So that due amount for the accounts receivable will be reduced now.
Sir, what is the amount of accounts receivable decrease?
How much have we received?
4,700.
4700. So how much the receivable amount will be decreased?
Um, will we minus 7,400 and 4,700?
No. We'll just
So,
we are reducing the receivable amount based on
so 4,700.
4700 will be reduced.
Accounts receivable decreased by 4,700.
4700. Now
So,
if I am interested how much receivable amount is 7400 minus 4700. What remains? You already identified it. Say, whenever you prepared this column, initially you had a receivable of 7400. Then you receive 4700. How much remains? 2700. Have you got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. In another scenario, whenever you journalize the transaction like that, firstly, accounts receivable, debit, service revenue, credit. If I do the journal, that will be like that, isn't it? This is debit, this is credit. And after receiving the amount, cash was debited by 4700, accounts receivable was credited by 4700. Then after the journals, what we need to prepare? What do we need to prepare?
Ledger.
Ledger. So whenever you are preparing the general ledger for accounts receivable, what are you going to do? Firstly, if I follow the format, date, particular, reference, debit amount, credit amount, and balance. We will record it like that to the ledger. So initially on August 15, probably August 15, whenever accounts receivable account has been created into the ledger, accounts receivable was debited by 7400 by providing service like that. So there will be a balance of 7400. If you don't agree, just let me know, or if you have any confusion, let me know. 7400. That's gone for August 15. Then August, what was the date? 23. August 23, accounts receivable was credited. Accounts receivable was credited by 4700. Have received cash. So what's the balance now? What's the balance?
2700.
2700.
700.
2700. That's all. Now, if I am interested to know what is my remaining balance of the accounts receivable, this is the remaining balance. What was my initial balance of the accounts receivable? This was my initial balance. How much we have received from our receivable holder? 4700. That's how the full explanations can be done.
Sir,
Yes, sir.
when we're writing the balance, do we have to mention in bracket whether it's debit or credit balance?
It's better to mention. It's better to mention. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Cool. Now, borrowed 5000 from the business, for the business from a bank. So, what are the accounts will be affected here?
So loan and
Loan
cash.
and cash. Loan is a,
So I can write bank, right? So because of I didn't take the money in cash.
yeah, cash, as I mentioned earlier, that in nowadays in business organizations, cash and bank are used simultaneously. Whatever it means the cash, the same thing is means by the bank account, because nowadays no cash transaction has been done. All the transaction has been done through bank. So even if you record bank instead of cash, it's okay.
So that time I need to write in tabular chalk. I need to write bank in the annex line.
Yep, yep, yep. If you create a separate account for the bank, you have to record a bank column into the asset side. So loan is a
So liability.
liability.
Ability.
Liability. Cash asset. Gains
So both are increased.
increase. With an amount of 5,000. And the finally, oh no, last, second last, purchased equipment 4,200 on account.
So
So equipment
equipment,
and accounts
equipment,
payable.
Exactly.
both increases.
Both increases. It's an asset, a liability. Last one. Paid 275 for utilities. Paid 275 for utilities. Sir, paid 275 for utilities.
So utilities expenses,
Utilities, it's an expense.
Expense
Yeah,
decreases.
exactly.
decrease, decrease, cash
Increase, cash, asset, decrease. Excellent. That's how we should proceed. That's all. Any query on that? This is the solution for your assignment. Any other query?
I think so, but disconnected in somewhere.
Hmm. Oh, I was disconnected. Yep. Okay. Any other query, sir? Is it okay?
Yes, I had really issues
Mm-hmm.
regarding formatting these tabs. So can I share my screen and
Yeah, please,
ask?
please. Yeah, please. No problem.
Sir, in the exam, instead of putting so many categories under owner's equity, can we just have one category of owner's equity?
Yeah, we can. That's how we have solved in our sessions.
Okay, sir.
If you can
Question
remember, I'm coming to that.
that if we can just remove everything and write owner's equity, we can add the capital revenue and minus the expenses and drawings
If you can
one column.
remember, if you can remember our how we have solved in our discussion sessions, you can see that all the revenues expenses have been adjusted to the owner's equity column. So if you see my screen, here it is. You can see that all the revenues and expenses drawings have been adjusted with the owner's equity column. So it's also correct.
Sir, your screen is very small. We cannot see it. personal use.
The reason is that one of your friends have been sharing his screen. Jawad has shared his screen. That's why.
I see.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So here it is. Can you see it now?
So, sir, I had a question, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, it is like asset equals to or liability plus owner's equity.
Hmm.
So, sir, do you have to show this in the equation that asset is equals to like liability plus owner's
Exactly.
equity?
Yeah, we have to show it because this is one of the
Is that
condition.
so, right?
Yeah, this is one of the important conditions of the accounting transactions that these two must be equal.
Oh, okay, sir.
Sir, I had a question about the midterm exams.
Okay, just let me complete this discussion, then we can talk.
Sir, can I share now?
Yeah, please, Jawad.
Sir, we saw that the expenses have increased,
Mm-hmm.
and I have wrote it in the minus format. So when we everything previously merged everything in owner security part, we used this minus or plus. We wrote the whole thing. But here the expenses have increased, right? But I wasn't sure how to format it. Like, should I just put a minus in that and
The reason of using minus sign or negative sign here, because if you can remember the relationship of expense with the owner security, what is the relationship of expense and drawings with the owner security? There was the
it's
inverse relationship.
reversible? Yeah.
Yeah, inverse relationship. This is why, that means when there is an expense increase, we have written down in owner security part, it indicating that the owner security is reducing. This is why this
Yeah.
negative sign has been used.
So this is correct, sir.
This is
If
also
I
correct.
use
Yeah, this is,
minus sign.
yeah, this is also correct because you have put it down to the owner's equity position. That means we want to show if there is any expense, how it is going to affect the owner's equity. You might you have got this confusion, and to reduce this confusion, that's why I have used all the revenues, expenses, and drawings in one column, so that you can overlap that confusions.
Yeah, sir, exactly. But when the assignment says the assignment asked us to
Follow this
put
format.
different accounts,
Yeah, but
so
I
that
also
is the confusion arised.
yeah, I also mentioned into the sessions, if you can remember, that we can follow the format that has been given into the assignments, or we can follow the format that we used into the sessions. So it was totally upon to you how what do you want to use, but both are correct.
And even wanted to use their plus and here plus, there plus, in the minus,
Mm.
minus in front of drawing and minus in front
Minus
of
inferior
expense. In that
expenses.
case, I had to clear these minuses
Yeah,
so that I can
you,
use here this minus.
yeah, you can do that
So
as well.
I wasn't sure how would it
Be accepted.
be accepted
Yeah, yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
So
It will be acceptable
I
as
was
well.
really
Yeah, it will be acceptable as well. You can write down cash plus equipment plus supplies plus accounts receivable, accounts payable
in
plus
that
loan.
case in that case I could write to 2400 plus
Yeah,
here.
not plus basically. Capital, after the capital you can use, before the revenue you can use plus sign, before the drawings you can use negative sign, before the expenses you can use a negative sign, so that you will, it will indicate that all the expenses will be deducted, all the drawings will be deducted, revenue will be added with the capital to find out the owner security.
Sir, then how will we represent the increase or decrease in expenses or drawings?
That by the positive and negative sign.
So another thing, sir, if I write it down this way,
Mm-hmm.
can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So the equation shows that liability plus owner's capital plus revenue plus drawing plus expense,
Mm-hmm.
isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's how it's.
So
Uh,
It was a little confusing, but I did understand the whole thing.
yeah, if you can understand, that's fine. Because to reduce this complexity or confusion, I used a separate or different format for transaction analysis. But it's an elaborate explanation of the transaction analysis of the effect of the transition into the equation. Thank you. Any other?
Sir, can you please balance the equation because I was having some problem in balancing.
Okay, what types of problems you are facing for balancing? It's not here. So, can you please tell me what problem have you faced for balancing?
So as far as I remember, if I was facing problem like my numbers were not matching assets and liabilities, so it would be for me to match it for me in this
Then
equation.
you made some mistakes. If it
Yes, sir.
doesn't
I
match,
was a little bit confused about the continuous breathing part.
okay. I got it. Yeah, that's why it was not matched. Is it?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah, this one. Okay, we understood how to proceed and how to handle these issues. We might be careful from the next. All right.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Okay, sir. Any other query regarding that? Then we'll go for probably Yashana. She has some queries regarding meat. All right, Yashana.
Yes, sir.
What is your query regarding meat?
Sir, so in the midterm, when they tell us to conduct a tabular analysis, how are we supposed to understand how many columns to create? Will that be mentioned at the end of the question?
Yeah, generally it will be mentioned. Okay, have you? Was it mentioned in this problem?
No, so that just the template was given.
Just the template was given with the title of the accounts.
No, sir, the account titles were empty, but the rows and columns were given.
Okay, then it's a very good question. So what we need to do, you can estimate how many columns could be there, and if there is any additional one or two columns is needed, keep some spaces there. Or if you have a look on the transactions, you can identify what are the accounts you need to be created so that you can easily find it out how many assets accounts will be there, how many accounts will be there. So what you need to do initially when you receive the transactions, you have to go through that one first, or you can do a rough that for the transaction these are the two accounts are will be affected, and from that rough you can easily identify how many accounts you are supposed to create for the assets, how many accounts you are supposed to create for the liabilities. Yes, sir. Ending balance means you haven't make the total.
Yes, I need the total, but I mean the September one. After the month and the
Okay, it's okay, it's not a problem.
I mean the beginning balance.
Beginning balance for the next month.
Yes.
Okay, it's okay, it's not a problem.
Sir, I had a question.
Yes, sir.
Sir, it's like notes payable and loan. Is it the same thing?
No, notes payable and no loan is not the same thing. Can any?
So for that, we make two columns for the tabular
Yes,
analysis.
if there are notes payable and as well as loan, you have to make two columns. Yes, sir.
About the midterm, will the notice be published on BUX?
Yeah, there will be a notice will be published on the PUX. Have you got the midterm schedule from the registry office?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
When is it?
Sir, I think it's on 10th of March.
What time?
Also, 2 to 5.
2 to 5. Okay. Okay. I haven't seen, that's why I asked you. All right.
So notes payable and accounts payable are the same thing.
Is it same thing? Can anyone help us or help Mashur? Notes payable and
It's
account.
not the same.
It's not the same thing. Why it's not the same thing?
Sir, because accounts payable is when we have not made a payment, when we have made a payment on credit, and notes payable is when a note has been issued on
Exactly.
credit.
A written issuance or written guarantee has been issued, then it becomes a notes payable. Otherwise, when you buy something on account, that it will be considered as an accounts payable. That's the basic difference between the notes payable and accounts payable. Is it clear, Mashur?
Sir, when we're taking loan, aren't we also getting a written assurance?
If you if you this notes receivable or notes payable means that it's a separate document. That document is can be issued to third party as well. So if that separate documents or that separate written assurance is not been provided, then it will not be considered as a notes payable or note receivable. Okay.
Sir, about the exam
Mm-hmm.
timing,
Hmm.
it may change, right?
Which one?
In the exam schedule we have received, the overall schedule, it says that the timing is from 2 to 5 p.m., but
Hmm.
the timing may
Yeah.
change depending
In
on
my,
the
yeah.
government checks, right?
Yeah. Probably. No, it will be started at 2 o'clock. It will be started at 2 o'clock, but the duration may not be 3 hours. And mid is going to be held on physically. So
Sir, in the mid exams, do we need to use Excel or?
no, in the mid exam, you have to write it down on the scripts that will be given to you from the university. It will be a physical exam.
And so for tomorrow's quiz, that will we will give the exam on box, right?
You'll give the exam on box. Yeah, you'll find a link on the box, and you have to respond to based on that queries that will be asked on that link.
Sir, can we practice the check boxes in the class? Uh, check box given in the box.
You can, you can. Yep.
Sir, I had one last question about the
Yes.
midterm exam.
Yeah, please.
So, sir, in BUX, in one of my other courses, the exam schedule has been published along with the time. So there they said that there will be no live class, that we will not have classes during the exam week. So the 2 weeks that we have the exam, do we not have any classes during those weeks?
No. For the midterm week, we will not have any classes on the midterm week, and as well as in the final week. Okay.
So, sir, does
Yes,
that mean that 2nd of March is our last class before the mid?
Let me check. 7th. Oh no, no, no. Yeah, second will be the last class. Yep, before the mid. But if you want, we can take additional session. Just let me know if you need. We can take an additional session for that.
Sir, so our classes will resume in after second. So the next time our class resumes is after 15th. Sir.
After 10th, on 14th.
Sir, I have an exam on 14th.
I
What
also have exams around 14th
on 14th?
March.
Which subject?
So
Sir, math.
statistics.
Meet exam.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
sir. And I
Okay.
have an exam on 15th as well.
Okay. But we have a scheduled class on 14th. We'll take the.
Me too.
Uh,
I have exams on 14th.
okay. Uh, but we'll take this session definitely, and the recorded sessions will be shared with you. But if you need any assistance, any help, or any discussions regarding the topics we will discuss on 14, we can take additional session for that.
Sir, they
It
won't
will
be
be
online, right? How will we get the recordings
There will be a recording session as well. These sessions will be recorded as well
for in-person classes?
for in-person classes. That is
Sir,
that's what I know. If the decision is not being changed, okay. And don't worry about that. What about the topics we are going to discuss here? Whenever there will be in-person sessions, I will be in the campus. So anytime you can come up to me and we can discuss on that issues. No problem for us.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Any other query regarding quiz or mate? Okay. So let's uh, concentrate on the topics we are supposed to discuss in this session. So in our last session, we have seen how to prepare the trial balance, and we also have seen that sometimes the trial balance doesn't match, but we have to create an account that is known as a suspense account. Can you remember what does the suspense account means?
Sir, it's used to ensure arithmetical accuracy of the traveler.
Excellent. And it's a temporary account. It definitely have to be eliminated before preparing the financial statement. That is the characteristic of the suspense account. And we have prepared the trial balance. So what are the benefits or objectives of preparing trial balance?
It helps to check the accuracy of the
Arithmetical
transaction.
accuracy. Anything else?
It helps us to observe the transactions, like which transaction happened on what date and the
Exactly.
impact of it.
Excellent. So can I say it helps uh, to see the financial picture
Yes, sir.
of the organization? Anything else? Mm, if the both sides hasn't doesn't match, then we can find out whether there is any mistakes or not. Yeah, yes, sir. Excellent. And another thing, what is the next steps of trial balance? Prepare the final account. We can prepare the financial statement. That means whenever we want to prepare the financial statement, we can prepare the financial statement from the trial balance. What are the components we need to prepare in the financial statement? Hmm. Income statement and
Owner's equity statement,
hmm,
balance sheet,
hmm, else?
Cash flow statement.
Excellent. Cash flow. So these are the statements we need to prepare. So what is the objectives of preparing income statement? What is the objectives of preparing income statement?
To get the profit and loss.
Profit and loss. How can we measure the profit and loss?
Gross profit minus expense.
By comparing revenues and
And cost.
cost or expenses. So are we able to get this information from the trial balance? What are the different revenues and expenses incurred for the organization? Is it available in the trial balance?
Yes, sir, it is.
Exactly, we have. If you looked at, there are different expenses, revenues. So here we can find out what are the different expenses and revenues incurred. We can easily find it out and transfer it to the income statement to find out or to measure the performances or profit or loss. Owner security statement, what are the information we actually required? Capital, drawings, and
Ex- Capital
and net profit, uh,
expenses.
net profit or loss. If you can remember the owner's equity statement, revenue and expenses is the difference of, if you compare these two, it will be the profit or loss. Or if you looked at the first session, we have shown you the, where is it? Here it is. In the owner's equity statement, we have shown you that beginning claim changes means the net profit or loss and drawings. Then you can find out the ending claims. The same concepts will be applied, that capital amount, drawings, and net profit or loss will be recorded here. And this net profit or loss will come from
Income statement.
income statement. Capital and drawings amount will come from this trial balance. From this capital, if there is any withdraw drawings, that will be recorded here as well. So it will come from the trial balance. So that we can see from the trial balance, we can prepare the owner's equity statement. In the balance sheet, what are the statement? What are the accounts will be recorded here?
Cash, liability, and owner security.
Asset, liability, yeah, and owner security. I understood. Asset, liability, and owner security. Owner security will come from the owner security statement. Asset and all the assets and liabilities can be transferred from the trial balance. So this is how we can prepare the financial statement from the trial balance. Now, in our last sessions also, we have discussed about the uh, in the last session or before the last session, before that, on session 6 probably. Where it's been recorded. Not here. Okay, let me write it down again. Now, what are the steps in accounting? We should start with
Identifying transactions,
identifying transactions, and then
recording them,
recording.
Identifying if it's debit or credit.
Hmm, recording, and this debit credit for the recording purpose. And this recording starts with journal, journalization, then we prepare ledger, then we prepare trial balance. So these are the recording steps or process that we are supposed to follow to complete the recording, and we have done up to the trial balance. Then we mentioned that from the trial balance we can prepare financial statements. What are the steps of the financial statements? We have also done it, that we need to prepare income statement, balance sheet, cash flow statement, and the owner's equity statement. At this moment, we are focusing on the first three: income statement, owner's equity statement, and balance sheet. Now, before preparing the financial statements, we are supposed to do something else as well. That is the concentration or topic for this session. What are the issues we are supposed to do before the financial statement or after preparing the trial balance? To discuss these issues, we have to go for some discussions that we have given you some idea previously. That we have said that whenever we are wants to deal with the accounting issues, we have to follow some accounting standards. Can you remember that we mentioned this topic or these issues, that we are supposed to follow some accounting rules and regulation when we prepare our uh, accounting information or financial statement? Can you remember? Yes. Yeah. What are the reasons behind that? So that we follow. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. So what are the reasons behind that? The reason is that whenever we prepare our financial statement, we follow the same rules and regulation so that our financial statements become comparable locally and internationally. That means it is become useful for the users in making their decision. And this accounting standards is also known as generally accepted accounting principles, or in short, GAAP. This is a very common terminology you will frequently face in accounting courses, accounting issues, and whenever you are discussing any accounting topics. So just keep in mind the terminology of GAAP. We definitely have to follow the GAAP when we are dealing with the accounting activities of an organization. Now let us see what are there are a number of principles there. We'll discuss some of them. Let us see what are these and what does this principle says.
Are you sharing your screen?
Yes, it doesn't is visible.
No, sir.
It it is visible. Can't you see it?
It is visible, sir.
It is visible.
Sir, I can see.
Yeah, it is visible, sir.
Sir, I
Sir,
can't
it is
see it
visible, but
for
it's
some
very
reason.
small.
Is there anyone sharing their
It's in the
screen?
top right corner.
You have to pin it in your screen.
Yeah, you can pin it here. Just pin it here like that. Let me pin it my one.
Oh,
Okay. You just pin it and you can find it out. So economic entity assumption is one of them. Then monetary unit assumption, going concern assumption, time period assumption, and we'll follow only two principles at this moment: revenue. So we have plenty of principles and assumptions, but at this moment we are following these six. So can you remember whenever we are dealing accounting, from which perspectives we should consider the accounting activities from organization or owners?
Organization.
From organization's perspective. What is the reasons behind that? Organization and owners are separate legal entity, isn't it? Have we discussed about that? That organization and owners are the separate legal entity, and this is why whenever we are dealing accounting activities of an organization, we should think from organization's perspective. And whenever we prepare our financial statement, this financial statement is prepared using the name of organization. Say, what is the title we actually use? We mentioned that this is an income statement for this organization. What's the reasons behind that? We have done it. The reason is that this economic entity assumptions has guided us to record it like that, to think like that. Economic entity assumption says that an organization and owners are they have separate legal entity. So whenever you are handling any accounting issues of an organization, you should consider owners and organization are a separate persons, and you should record it from an organization's perspective. And this is why whenever you are preparing a financial statement of an organization, you prepare with the name of that organization, not with the name of the owner, because of this economic entity assumption. So whenever we are handling the accounting activity, what is the first criteria of the transaction to become a transaction in accounting? What is the first criteria? How can we say it's a transaction or not? There are two criteria there. What are these?
Debit and credit.
No.
It should be measurable in terms of money
Excellent.
and it should affect the financial position of the company.
Excellent. It should be measurable in terms of money, and it should affect the financial conditions of a company. So whenever any activity is incurred, whether we should consider it accounting or not, it depends on these two conditions: whether it can be expressed in terms of money, or and whether it is affecting the financial condition of an organization or not. So this is the things we have followed. Now, which principles has guided us? This monetary unit assumption. This monetary unit assumption says that whenever any activity is incurred in an organization, if it can be expressed in terms of money and if it affects the financial situation or condition of an organization, you should consider in accounting activities, otherwise not, because of this monetary unit assumption. Thirdly, going concern assumption. Okay, whenever we start an organization, what is the lifetime or expected lifetime of an organization?
It depends on what kind of business it is.
Okay, can
But
you
I think going concern assumes that it is a long-term business.
it's an long-term basis. Whenever we start any activities or any organization, we expect that it will run for long. It does have an indefinite time period. So it has an indefinite time period. That means it doesn't have any lifetime. It has been expected that it will run for long. Because of this going concern assumption, it assumes that organization will operate their activities for long. There is no limited time frame or timeline for the organization, and this is why we categorize different account. Some are considered as assets, some are considered as a liability, some are revenue, some are expenses, some are as a part of the owner's equity. That's why whenever any activity is incurred in any organization, we have to categorize it. What types of activity are this, or is it? Is it an expense or liability, revenue, capital, or owner's equity? Because of this going concern assumption. Because we expect that it will run for long. That's why to measure the capability or condition of the organization, we have to know what are the assets or how many assets we have, how many liabilities we have, how many revenues we earn, how many expenses we incurred, and what is our current owner's equity position because of this going concern assumption. Now, we expect that this organization will run for long. There is no limited lifetime. That means we will not consider that our organization will run for 10 years, 50 years, 15 years, 20 years, like that. We will expect that it will run for long. It does have unlimited time period or lifetime. Now, whenever we start an organization and consider that it does have an unlimited lifetime, we also need to measure whether we are performing, how we are performing, whether we are able to earn expected level of profit or loss, what is our current condition. We also need to measure it. How can we measure it? When you are running a business, it is expected that this organization will run for long, that is unlimited time period. There is no limited lifetime, and you are expecting, or you might be interested to know how you are performing. How can you measure your performance? What do you think? How can we measure the performance of an organization? You know this one.
So, so by looking by business
Yeah,
financial statement.
by preparing financial statements. And to prepare the finance, basically, whenever we are intending to prepare the financial statement, this financial statement needs to be prepared for a specific time period. This financial statement needs to be prepared for a specific time period. In accounting, we called it accounting period. This accounting period has some duration. It can be 1 month, it can be 3 months, it can be 6 months, it can be 12 months, it can be 15 months, it can be 18 months, it can be any the duration can be anything. It depends on the policy of the organization. But whenever the organization identify a duration for their accounting period, it should be consistent. That means the whole life of the organization is divided into some accounting period. Whole life of the organization is divided into some accounting period, and the duration of the accounting period depends on organization's policy. It can be 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, 15 months, whatever it is. But if they decide the duration will be 3 months, that means after each 3 months, they will prepare their financial statement to know what is their condition for that 3 months, what is their condition for this 3 months, for this 3 months, for this 3 months, for this 3 months, so that they can find out the trend of their performances over the time. And this is being done because of this time period assumptions. They find out their accounting period. There will be some duration. What would be their duration? It depends on organization's policy. It can be 3 months, it can be 6 months, it can be 12 months, etc. And this duration is being identified just to prepare the financial statement. FS means financial statement, and this has been done because of this time period assumptions. Can anyone say what is the normal duration of an organization? Duration of accounting period of an organization? How? 1 year.
So 1 year.
Exactly, 12 months or 1 year. If nothing mentioned in our questions, we will assume that the duration of the accounting period is 1 year, because in general, each and every organization have to prepare their financial statement for each year. So we'll prepare, if nothing mentioned, we'll consider the duration of accounting period is 1 year. and this has been done because of the time period assumption. So up to these four assumptions, what we have seen, we have to think accounting activities for an organization that is separated from the owners because of this owners economic entity assumption. We consider only the activities which can express in terms of money and which changes the financial condition of the organization. As we have seen, it's a transaction. We identify the transactions following the monetary unit assumption. Whenever we establish an organization, we assume that it will run for long. It doesn't have any limited lifetime because of the going concern. And that's why whenever any activity is incurred, we categorize different accounts, five types of account: asset, liability, expense, revenue, and capital or owner's equity, because of this going concern. And we know that our organization will run for long. We might be interested to know the performance of the organization. That's why the whole life of the organization is divided into some equal or artificial equal part. These are known as duration of accounting period. The duration of accounting period can be any duration. It can be for 1 month, 6 months, 3 months. That means the organization can prepare their financial statement after each 1 month, or after each 3 months, or after each 6 months, or after each 12 months, depending on organization's policy. But in general, they are supposed to prepare their financial statement after each 12 months or after each year. This is why whenever any duration will not be mentioned to you, you will assume that the duration of accounting period for that organization is 12 months, and it is by following the time period assumption. Now, the next two, revenue recognition principle and matching principle.
Sir,
Yes, sir.
can we use the term fiscal year for use the same?
Which one, sir? Can you please repeat?
The fiscal year.
I'm coming to that. I haven't discussed it yet. Hmm. I'm coming to that. Okay, let me finish the fiscal year. There are two things. 12 months means a year. There, we can measure the year in two ways. One is calendar year. Another one is, as your friend mentioned, fiscal year. Do you know the difference between these two? Calendar year means January to December. Fiscal year means any 12 months. It can start from January, then it will be ended on December. It can start on March, then it will complete on February. It can start on June, then it will 12 months will complete on May. It can start on July, then the 12 months will be finished on June, like that. Any 12 months will be considered as a fiscal year. There is another term, financial year. Financial year means, do you know when we prepare our budget for the country? When the What is the durations for the budget?
Sir, June to July.
Budget is being prepared for a year, 12 months, and this 12 months starts from July. You know that the government announced budget on June. Have you noticed it? Each year in the month of June, the government announced the budget. The budget is for the next 12 months. That next month, the next 12 months start from the July. July to June is known as an financial year. And fiscal year means any 12 months within that calendar year. And calendar year means January to December, 12 months. Okay. Sorry. So these two principles, the last two topic for this session, the revenue recognition principles and matching principles. Let us discuss with some example. Do you think that these two are transactions? Earned revenue 40,000 and earned revenue of a cash of in cash of 30,000. Hmm. Or to make it more simple, is true.
Sir, it should be a transaction.
Okay. Then if it is
So
a transaction, the first one, perform service, what should be the journal?
sir, accounts
Sir,
receivable and service revenue.
Accounts receivable. Hmm. Is it unearned?
Unearned.
Which one? Second one or first one? Why is an unearned? Unearned means you have got the money but did not provide the service. Now, have you received the money? Yeah, okay. You have performed service means you provided service. But in that case, they did not mention that you have received cash. That's why you consider it's on account. Accounts receivable debit, service revenue credit. Debit, credit. Amount is 40,000. This one. And so what would be the journal for the second one?
So cash
Hmm.
debit, service revenue.
Service revenue. Cash debit, service revenue credit with an amount of 30,000. Now, it means that even though you haven't received cash, you consider a revenue when you provide any services. Does it mean that? Hmm? Do you agree with that statement? Revenue should be recorded when earned. It doesn't matter whether you receive cash or not. We follow this condition to record these two transactions. Do you agree with that?
Yes, sir.
Isn't it? Basically, this is the procedures we followed so far in last 7 sessions based on this revenue recognition principle. Basically, we followed the principles. Now we are linking up the principles with our discussions. So it says that revenue should be recorded when earned. It doesn't matter whether we receive cash or not. That's why after recording these journals, transferring to the ledgers and preparing trial balance, when anyone asks us what is the total amount of revenue, how much would be the total revenue for this example? How much I should say? This is the amount of revenue.
70,000.
70,000. Whenever you will prepare the trial balance, you can see service revenue has been recorded by 40 and 30, that means 70,000. So total revenue is 70,000. That's how we recognize revenue in an organization. So revenue recognition principles helps us to find out the revenue for the organization. What should be the amount of revenue for a specific time period in an organization? They said that revenue should be recorded when in earn. It doesn't matter whether you receive cash or not. That's why whenever we are not receiving cash, even though we are not receiving cash, we record as a revenue. Even when you are receiving cash, we are recording as a revenue. That's what the revenue recognition principle says. Matching principles is similar to the revenue recognition principle. Revenue recognition principle says about the revenue. Matching principle says about the expenses. It says expenses should be recorded when incurred. Again, it doesn't matter whether you paid cash or not. That means whenever any expenses incurred, you are supposed to record that expense for that period or for that accounting period. It doesn't matter whether you paid or in cash or not. Say for example, paid salaries to employee $30,000. This is one case. Another case, $15,000. Do you think that these two are transactions for the organization? Okay. If it is a transaction, what should be the journal in these two cases?
First one, salaries debit.
Mhm. Salary is debit and
Cash credit.
cash credit. We paid cash, specifically mentioned cash credit. So it will be $30,000. And second one, utilities debit.
Accounts payable.
Exactly. Accounts payable credit 15,000. 15,000. And if anyone asks us what is the total expense, then
5,000.
45,000. We consider 30,000 and 15,000 both are expenses. Even 15,000 was not been paid because of this matching principle. Matching principles is also known as expenses recognition principle because it recognizes the expenses. It says that expense should be recorded when incurred. It doesn't matter whether you paid cash or not. That's why these two transactions. This is how the revenue recognition principles and expense recognition principles or matching principles help us to record revenues and expenses. So these are the principles. Basically, we followed all the principles and assumptions. Now we are linking up these principles and assumptions with our accounting treatments. So that's how these are the initial principles and assumptions we are supposed to follow whenever we are handling the accounting activities. And we can, from your book, we can show one thing here, a chart that they shows So what was the
Sir, many of us have other classes, so can we just continue
yeah?
this lecture in the class?
Sorry.
So many of us have other classes,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
can
yeah,
we
yeah.
continue this lecture next time?
Yeah, yeah. We'll just the last issue. It may take 2 minutes or 1 minute to finish. Okay. So as we have discussed about the revenue recognition and matching principles, it's also been guided by the uh, time period assumptions. It says like that we have to follow the time period assumptions. Based on the time period assumptions, we have to divide the economic life into some equal uh, duration, and based on that durations, we need to recognize the revenues and expenses following the revenue recognition and expenses recognition or matching principle to find out the overall performance of the organization. And this overall performance of the organizations will be identified by following the revenue and expense recognition principles following the accounting standards, which is actually known as GAAP or generally accepted accounting principles. So these are the things we are supposed to follow whenever we are handling accounting issues. This is why whenever we said that in accounting steps after the trial balance, we need to prepare the financial statement. Before preparing the financial statement, based on the accounting duration, we need to recognize what are the amount of expenses and what should be the amount of revenues for that duration. And if there is any discrepancy, we have to make some adjustment. We need to make some adjustments, and this adjustment is being done.
So you're not sharing your screen.
Oh, sorry. This adjustment is being done before preparing the financial statement and after preparing the financial statement and after preparing the trial balance. So from the trial balance, we need to prepare the financial statement. But before preparing the financial statement, based on the duration of accounting period, we need to recognize what should be the amount of expenses, what should be the amount of revenues for that duration, so that we can identify the actual performance for that organization for that accounting period. And this is why we have to make some adjustment. And this chapter we will basically focus on this adjustment that will be discussed from the next session. This is the to make you familiarize with the adjustment. That's why all the discussions was actually been made to make you familiarize how should we proceed with the accounting activities for an organization. So have you got some idea about the principles? How are we supposed to follow these standards and how should we apply it in accounting, handling accounting activities? Okay. So we have discussed so many things. We'll repeat the same thing in the next session before starting the next topic. But I'll suggest you to go through it that. You have a quiz in the next session. When you are reviewing the quiz issues or quiz topic, if you find any difficulties, just email me. I'll try to sort it out at my earliest possible time. Okay. So that's all from me for this sessions. We have taken more than half an hours after fr- com- from you, even though yeah, sir.
Sir, what standard did you follow like till now?
Accounting standards gap we
Is
have
it
followed.
gap?
Yes, the gap one we have followed.
Yes.
Okay. So thank you all. See you in the next session and good luck to you all for the quiz. Thank you.
Sir, I have a query. Can I talk to you one to one?
Yeah, yeah, please. I'm staying here. Uh,
Sir,
Sir,
yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Yep.
sir, can you share the Excel sheets with us, sir? Sir, if